Welcome to Simple Discipleship Unfiltered.
Unfiltered.
Where no topic is off limits.
Hey, welcome to Simple Discipleship Unfiltered. I'm Diana.
I'm Kendall.
And I'm Ashton.
Hey, we're picking up on part 2. Ashton brought a concern to us, and you want to just kind of give us a synopsis, Ashton, of what you were talking about.
Oh, yeah, just regular old frustrations. That's all.
You
should have seen her face.
But I will say, this morning, I like to just talk to God in the car because I feel like I can't be distracted by other things.
I love that.
So, but I was sitting there and I was like, a lot of people don't know, but my son's deliverance is the biggest thing that I pray for, probably on all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing Diana taught me that I do every day now, and I feel like I've noticed his behavior change just in that is, you know, Lord, I go to the day of his deliverance and I bring the praise to today, and I praise you from this day through the day of deliverance. So I feel like that's made a huge difference. And the enemy comes and he tries to like rile me up, and I'm like, nope. I praise you. I praise you anyway,
Praise
Lord.
you, Lord.
But this morning I was just talking to the Lord, and I was like, you know, I'm not understanding the frustrations. I'm not understanding the behavior, all of that. And, you know, then y'all said when the enemy came in, it was like, but it could be so much worse. And then I was just like sitting in that for a moment. Sometimes I have to get real quiet. And I was like, but I think that's wrong. You know, I understand a lot of people accept things for their children, and that's totally fine. I'm not here to judge that. But I just, like, felt the urge in my spirit of, but that's not the mom I designed you to be. I didn't design you to be that mom that just accepts it. And I was like, you're right, God. You're right. So I'll chill out on my complaining. But today, I mean, he had me down to even, like, Cash's dad. Like, there's things that I should have been grateful for that I haven't been in all this time. Have these people done things that have, like, irked me? For sure. But, you know, I feel like Jesus didn't just look at people and see the wrong. He looked at them and he saw good in them too, so I'm going to do that too. But even in his situations, like he saw, even in the moment he was being beat to death, he saw the good that was coming from it. So I was like, all right. And I get real quiet in my car. I'm like, all right.
I heard something the other day that said, who it was, I can't remember. We listen to so many good teachers and just Bible studies and all kinds of stuff. But they said that it was probably Benny Hinn or somebody. But he was talking about how, like, our Thanksgiving activates the blessings of God, activates the miracles. It's not just because... it's not in a way of, oh, if I thank him, then it's going to come quicker. Or, oh, if I thank him, like, that's still the wrong mindset. But beginning to be thankful and praise him because he's good, period, whether I see it in my situation or not, it activates something because at that point you're believing God because he's God. Regardless if I see it, regardless if it's happening in my life right now, all of those things. And it just reminded me of, you know, in Romans where it says that Abraham believed God and it was credited to him as righteousness. And they went on to say, like, it's not the fact that he believed that God could do it, but he believed God for who he was. So if you're in a place of feeling frustrated of finances or these earthly things that we tend to find frustrations in, or maybe it's even like a mental or emotional or like type of thing that you're frustrated because you're angry, or you're frustrated because you're irritated, or, you know, just different things that we take to the Lord and we're like, why am I this way? And instead of going to him with that in mind, go to him with him in mind.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, go to him without your agenda. Go to him without your petitions. Go to him without all of these things first. And before you know it, and I think I've said this before just because it happens every time that you do it, but when I leave my petitions on the back burner and go to him and just praise him and go to him and just thank him and go to him, I forget what my petitions even were. And he knows what they are. You know, I don't have to read them out, but he knows what they are in my heart. But in that moment, I begin to forget my petitions because of how just good and merciful and gracious and righteous and holy that he is. Like, all of that just kind of begins to fade away. But it's in doing that my petitions come to pass quicker, that the things that I'm longing for begin to come to pass quicker. Why? Because my eyes aren't fixed on those. My eyes are fixed on him, the only one who can make this stuff come to pass. But I liked that what I had heard the other day, that it wasn't the fact that Abraham believed God could. He knew God could. We know God can. Yeah. We've seen God do it. We've read the stories. We've heard the testimonies. But it's not about, can you believe that God can do it? And I feel like that's kind of contradicting to what we've grown up in the church hearing. Can you believe that God can do it? Do you believe that God can do it for you? Well, yeah. Wrong mindset. Do you believe God? Do you believe that he's good? Do you believe that regardless of your circumstance, whatever he does or doesn't do right now, do you believe all that he is who he is, and it is enough? Do you believe the I am is the I am? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, we've got to get to a point where all the things that come along with believing him that are good isn't the goal. We have to change our mindset that he's the goal.
Yeah,
and all the things follow.
Who did we hear the other day said that we need to stop saying that he's the God of the impossible? He is the God that is possible. Everything is possible. Mm-hmm. He's not the God of impossible. There's no impossible thing to him.
Right, that's good.
He is the God of possible. And so, we talked about the man of God the other day that said, if I've only got 10 minutes to pray, I'm going to spend 9 minutes of it worshiping and 1 minute to bring my petition. Mm-hmm. Because after I've worshiped and I've been in his presence and the glory comes and I feel him with me, the other things really don't matter anymore.
Right.
And that's why he says, I already know what you have need of. I don't mind that you ask me for it. I want you to. He says, seek me, you'll find me. Knock, the door will be open. And, all of that. He wants you to do that. He just doesn't want that to be the focus of why you come to him. Like you say, we should come to him because he's God. He's the creator. And if we can see our God is the God who created all things and made all things and made everything to work so beautifully and perfectly. Just alone as you're expecting third baby number 3. If you think of the intricate things that have to happen before a woman can conceive, mm-hmm. right? And then think of all the little ways that it has to work, right? I mean, you ever, because of me thinking in my mind, I'm stuttering because you remember that movie, Look Who's Talking? Y'all probably didn't see that either. My God. These girls, I need to have like a weekend where they just watch some of the old movies. And I know Carrie's probably going to hear this, and she and I need to have like a really good movie day. Oh, she knows. She's watched Look Who's Talking, Look Who's Talking 2, Look Who's Talking Now, and all this. It was John Travolta and Kirstie Alley. And anyway, in this movie, the baby, like, is as their relationship has biblically been consumed or whatever, it takes it through the process of it. And all that's got to happen before there can be a baby. And so, and it follows the baby, the whole time. But when I was in college, I studied, all of all the details that have to go into place that, and it's just a miraculous thing to think that God so perfectly made us, that he just weaves us in there, the Bible says, into our mother's womb, and it's just a perfect process, and so I think that if we can get our mind wrapped around how big God is and how much we mean to that God, I think we sometimes separate him as creator God and then the feel-good God and the God that's here on Sunday and the one that might show up in our car, or the one that's, I think we separate him out. If we could just see, it's the same God that did all these things in the Old Testament. It's the same God who Abraham had to say, I thank you for where I'm going, even though I don't know where it is. I trust you to say, I'm going to keep going. Because, the promise was brought to Abraham's father first.
Right.
And the father said, when he got to to the certain spot, he said, I think I'm good here. And he stayed. So then the angel of the Lord had to show up and say to Abram, I need you to go. Pick it up, and I need you now to go, because he dropped it over here.
Wow.
See what I'm saying? So when we can realize that's the same God, that divided, the Red Sea and then the Jordan, the same God who did all of these things, that's who we serve. That's who shows up while we're in our car.
Right.
That's the same one that cares about your car situation. He's the same one that cares about we pay rent every month. That's the same exact God. And when we see him from that perspective as that God, then our stuff really doesn't look so bad, does it?
Right.
And I think that that's where he's taking us, is, God, I worship you because of who you are. I was in my car yesterday, and I was, I think I was coming to the building, or it might have been Monday, but anyway, the thing is that there's a song that Sandy Patty did that's called Because of Who You Are, many, many years ago. You probably never heard it. I ain't going to ask if you have. But it talks about that. Because you spoke the words and all the worlds came into orbit. Is the same one that you speak over my situation, and it's going to come to pass. He's capable, right? Mm-hmm. We're going to go into our first commercial.
Hey y'all, if you've been blessed by SDU and you feel led to give to this ministry, here are some ways you can do that. You can text GIVE to 833-576-1168. You can also go to our website at m3mi.org to the tab Sow a Seed. You can also send a check or money order by mail to P.O. Box 1318, Forney, Texas 75126, and all gifts are tax deductible. Thank you for your seed.
Hey, thank you for your seed. And Kendall's got
Don't text to give.
Don't text to give.
Right now. You can still go to, maybe we should just need to do just me talking commercial.
Yeah.
If you feel led to get, no, I'm just kidding. You can go to m3mi.org to the tab Sow a Seed, to the other little links that may be in there, or you can send to the P.O. Box.
For right now.
For now.
So, what do you think, Kendall, about what we were talking about?
Well, my mind just went back to your question of, do you think the Lord, what specifically say what your question was?
Do you think the Lord allows these things to happen, like as you're going into your walk in ministry? Because I thought that this morning. I'm like, okay, maybe it's a test. Like, are you going to keep going?
Yeah.
Are you going to keep going?
Well, and I feel like we've probably talked about it or maybe, I don't know, maybe I've just thought about it. But in times where it's like, figure out, is this a test or is this an attack? Yeah. And the first way that you can know if it's an attack is if you are praying and warring and you have intercessors with you, alongside you, and it's still not budging, it's probably not an attack, because we know that the enemy has to flee at the name of Jesus, right? Mm-hmm. We know that the enemy can't withstand. He cannot cross the bloodline. He cannot go past the fire ring of God, like he can't. So if you're still in that funk, then it's probably not an attack. It probably is a test. And the answer is yes. We've said that I do believe the Lord allows those things. I fully believe he stamps his approval. I mean, look at the life of Job. Like, the man loses literally everything and, only couldn't take his life. But the Lord approved that. The Lord said, you can do all this, but you just can't take his life. You can do all this. You can do all this. And yes, when you begin to really, I don't even want to say, because you kind of clarified it earlier, we're all called into ministry in some form or fashion, like whether that be the mother to your children or your spouse, like whether that be just a friend, like it reminded me of something else I think Michael Culiano said the other day, like, you're a teacher? Okay. And I pulled this up, but Matthew, 10:8 says, heal the sick, raise the dead, cleanse the leper, cast out demons, freely you've received, so freely give. And he goes through the list. He's like, you're a preacher? Okay. Do all those things. You're a mom? Okay. Do all those things. Like, it's not just there's a pulpit, so there's a need. It's your life. Like, everything that you do requires you to step up. If you're, like you said, if you're surrendered, if you're carrying the cross. And so in that, I think, yes, the Lord allows those things, because as we were saying earlier at lunch, like, I feel like in those moments we start to feel like God's not there, right? Because we're like asking, like, God, I need you to do this. I need you to do this. And you don't see it happening, and you don't, all this stuff, you're crying out, and you're asking those to war with you and to pray with you on these things. And it's almost as if the Lord starts to pull himself away, not in a way of separating himself from us, because we know that he's not going to separate himself from us, but it's in a way of like drawing us, like, let me see how much closer you're going to come to me. Let me see how much more you're going to surrender. Let me see how much more you're going to take up of the cross. Let me see how much more you're willing to lay down in this circumstance. And it doesn't feel good in the moment, but when you draw closer, as he's pulling you to draw closer, then you look back on the other side and you're like, man, I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah.
Like, that sounds crazy to say,
Yeah.
like, especially if you're walking through the funk.
I love how you have put it before. You said the more that he draws away from us, or it feels like he is, the more he's actually drawing us into the deep.
Mm-hmm.
And that really is it. He's not trying to punish us. He's trying to
strengthen us,
gird
us up.
But in doing that, he's pursuing us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to see that he's pursuing me when it doesn't feel like he's there. But his pursuit leads me to the deep to find him.
I literally see, I saw it one time in prayer, but I see it kind of again in a different way. But I see like the Lord, like, so if you're in an ocean, if you want to close your eyes, if you're not like driving,
Yeah.
but like if you're in an ocean and you're just kind of skimming the surface, you're just paddling on top. I see the Lord, like he has like this cord tied to you. And he just takes like this big backstroke just down into the water. And he's sinking deep, right? And it's not that he's disconnected from you. It's not that he's mad at you. It's not that he's any of these things, but he's going this way. And eventually, what does that cord do? It eventually hits its peak of resistance. Like, there's no more give to it. And sometimes there's a lot there. It's got to there's that long suffering. But the Lord finally hits this place, this level, so to speak. And I don't think this side of heaven we should ever not go to the next level, right? We're always supposed to go to faith, to glory, strength to strength. But like, it's like he's sinking deep, and as he's sinking deep, you're wondering where he went. But then once that cord hits its peak of there's no more give left, then you begin to sink deep with him, or we should. Or if we don't, and we say, oh man, this is too hard, I just see him like he lets up and we just start swimming back to the surface. Or we could surrender to it and go down with them.
That's the thing. Going. It's the surrendering to what is going on. There's that choice that you say. We determine that, is this actually the enemy combating me, doing this, distracting me, causing this to me? Because if I resist him, he has to flee. But if he's not fleeing, then God, what is it? What's your purpose that you're trying to show me in the middle of this?
Right.
What are you trying to teach me? And I surrender to that. And when I surrender to that, then my mindset changes, because I know that he has good in it for me. And I know that in that, there's going to come an end to it.
Mm-hmm.
And we've talked about that before. That I know that my mindset changes, because I know that eventually there'll be an end to this. Eventually, he's going to show up on the scene with what we know that he's already promised to do. And it's going to be good every time. God, show me what I need to do in the middle of this.
Right.
Because right now it don't feel good. Right now, it's the 30th, the 1st is tomorrow, all these things are going on. So do I trust you? How do I trust you in the middle of this? How do I say, hey, whatever it is, God, I want what you have for me? Or, like you say, do I sink or swim?
Mm-hmm.
And I think there needs to be a part 3 if we've got time to do one.
Mm-hmm.
So it's our time is already up. So we're going to leave you with this. Go show some love.
Show some compassion.
Give mercy.
And go be Jesus today.
Hey, SDU family, thank you for joining us today. We do value your feedback, so if you have any questions or suggestions of topics, please feel free to reach out to our email at info@m3mi.org or reach out to us via text or call to our SDU hotline. The number is 214-600-7771.